quarterfinals of the main cup. The home side, Shujaa, who have been globetrotters in that Division 2 and Division 1 of the last season, taking on Zimbabwe, whose 15-a-side team has qualified for the 2027 World Cup. And this is going to be a tough one. The home side looking to get themselves into the finals. They are the defending champions of Shujaa. King George Oro goes into contact there, survives the contact and creates a platform for backline to attack. Sati with a pass that goes out to Patrick Odongo, the speed star. This one is gonna go all the way, cleans out Edward Sigauke from Zimbabwe. Player for the big moments, Oscar. He's been quiet throughout the whole tournament.
And he has been the rest of the team have been playing. And all 7 rugby here, perhaps saving their speed stuff for the final. Angela might have been scoring some of those drive up here as well. Long contest on that one. 1-on-1 with Ed Sigauke. And Patrick just smoked it. Stand up player.
A player full of confidence. One of the fastest in that setup. As you look there, just looked at Sigauke and told him, let's go. And that acceleration leaves Sigauke pumping and huffing and trying to cut out the angle for Patrick Odongo. Kenya on board. That conversion not successful, so it's a 5-0 lead. Zimbabwe.
And Kenya just knocking on. It's a good kickoff, but just losing position. I mean, so knocking on and giving Zim possession.
Yeah, Edward Sigauke having a scare yesterday with an Oli limped off, but they have worked on him overnight. He's showed up. He was big against KCB in that quarterfinals, and looking to come and have his say in this one. One of those players who was in the lineup for that 2027 campaign, World Cup campaign for Zimbabwe.
Yeah, make no mistake, this is a decent Zimbabwe team. They don't have as much pace perhaps as you think versus Kenya, but they are a really, really decent side, Zimbabwe, and expect them to answer here using their power as well against Kenya's pace.
Yeah, steps and gets himself through that gap. Danger man Sigauke looking for an offload, gets it, and they swing off to the right. Matematema Carlos, a hot stepper, gets into the gap, looks for support in the inside channels, doesn't get one, and then another step coming back into traffic. Ryan Musumi and looking for gaps here.
I talked about the Zimbabwean power, and they're displaying it here. Expect Sigauke here to do the same. Unfortunately, they knock on there.
Yeah, Tapiwa Malenga knocking it on.
They will keep possession well, Zimbabwe. And this is a good to see the contrast of the two sides. Kenya does have a power of its own, but perhaps you'd think they just have 1 or 2 players who are a bit quicker than the Zim players. But make no mistake here, Zimbabwe cheaters know their way around the rugby field.
Yeah, under those close quarter combats, you'll expect Zimbabwe to front up very well against Kenya. But across the rank and file, the 7 players, Kenya just with more pace, man to man. That doesn't count much if you do not have ball. And Festus Shiasi bumps through that gap, pins his ears, going all the way for another try for the local lads. Shujaa, fast-faced ball, Oscar. And Zimbabwe caught in 6s and 7s in their defense. Not expected in the first phase.
Yeah, that was just laps, impressive laps there from Zimbabwe.
Ideally, it was 1-on-1.
Yes,
we'll just wait for the replay to see how he manufactured that gap.
As he was getting the ball, he sort of showed some good proprioception awareness there because it was in the air. And then, but when he was coming down, he checked direction already. He made his mind. He was in the air going towards the eastern side of the stadium. And then he suspended the ball.
Carlos Matematema, who was tracking in the inside defense. Then Festus Shiasi going all the way.
Yeah, that was a poor defense there from Carlos.
Big kickoff that is recovered by Shujaa, then knocked on accidentally by Sati.
It's accidental, he says, accidental offside.
Yeah, Zimbabwe trying to call for the penalty. That knock on in an offside position, but for the referee it was too fast. It was too fast on to Asati, so the referee said it is accidental. But anything short of that would have been an offside call and a penalty to Zimbabwe. So they get the put in, then good shove there from the Shujaa forwards, taking it out to hot stepper there, Patrick Odongo onto the scene. D'Angela Maitza punished for that high shot as he came to support on the inside defense. Quick tap and go from Zimbabwe. Carlos Matematema steps into the gap, beats one tackler, but the scramble defense comes in to help out. They shift the ball quickly to the right, left where they have numbers, then bring it to the inside. Fashioned space out wide for Kudakwashe, who does his work well.
Sorry, Elijah, to interrupt. Watch this power play here from Zim. They're playing very well, using the power, and Kenya had one man down in defense. They're not using the pace, they're using power. Here we go. Look at that, taking 2 men on. Good contest there from Kenya in the ruck, but still just overreaching.
Quick tap and go from Carlos Matematema, stepping again and going over to score. He was always the instigator. He has been that for Zimbabwe throughout the tournament this year and last year. He has dancing shoes on, danced his way into the try box there.
There's a really good step of Matematema, but take nothing away from the rest of the team. The other 6 who did a really good build-up. Not using pace, but they're using power and explosive power to be precise. They're actually picking the ball to the fringes. Took out about 2 players to bring, I think it was Noel down, and then again Matematema just picked up from the same space because the 2 players on the floor. Use his feet there. They're still defenders. There we go, picks it from the scrum. Nyala just getting back. That steps. Those are not.
Oh, fantastic play there from Carlos Matematema.
Beats 3 players actually.
Indeed, and with a successful conversion, it's a 3 points difference. Navi times here for the local side and for the fans who are cheering on the Shujaas. Huta sounded there to stop this first half. The referee says it's a good contest and looks like a yellow card. Patrick Odongo gets the marching orders for 2 minutes, falling over and sealing the contest there, and quick off the blocks for Zimbabwe, looking to finish this first half strongly. They have numbers out wide. Looks like it's going to be a try. Indeed it is. Edward Sigauke gets his name onto the scoreboard and pulling ahead of the local side Shujaa. Wow, there's silence in the stadium.
I think you have to give some credit to Ed here. He was smoked in Kenya's first try against Patrick, but he has been really tenacious in defense and even in attack. Actually, a couple of moments took on Patrick Odongo. He knew he couldn't beat him for pace, but I think he feels he can match him in power. And he's done well a couple of times here to bring the ball back for the Uganda cheaters, Zimbabwe cheaters. And with the Dongo in the sin bin, Zimbabwe used their tactics here on the power play. Took the ball up there, took all the ball up all the way to the defense and create that overlap.
Yeah, so that pulls ahead and we go into the break. Zimbabwe coming back strongly after conceding early on, and they take the lead. Shujaa, all to do to defend their title in the second half. For the second half, the home side Shujaa trailing against Zimbabwe, and some changes on the lineup. Off goes Festus Shiasi, and in comes Crescent Ojwang at the center. Kevin Wambua, the head coach, trying to ensure that the tempo remains high. Challenge for the Zim is staying in this one. They have faded off in a few of those matches earlier on, but the stakes are high. An opportunity to be in the finals is what they are gunning for. Kevin Wekesa going for that jackal, but Zimbabwe survive it. Then they shift. Story of the first half, they denied Kenya possession. and they are good in the contact areas, quite strong, well conditioned. Look at that pass, 20 meters or so, ensuring that the Kenya defense remains on the chicken wing pass, opens up the gap. Nigel Amaitsa not fast enough to cover that space, and Trevor Kurwe goes over for another try for Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe now really putting Shujaa to the sword here.
And now there's a lot of Kenya Sevens players out there. I do appreciate there are also some neutrals and a couple of Zimbabwean players, supporters rather. But watch what Ryan Musumi does here in all the Zimbabwe tries. He carries the ball really, really well in two hands. Does show on both sides, brings the Kenya defense, provokes the Kenya defense here, and then he gets really good support play here from his support players. Watch that, he takes the ball all the way up there to Asante, steps off his foot, then chicken wing pass on the inside, and it's try time there for the Zimbabwe Cheetahs.
And for me, Oscar, that comes from that long pass, 20-meter pass that took off every Kenyan player in that rack, the earlier rack. And then when they came back in, they were caught napping. That space in the inside was too huge. So Kenyan have to score twice to get themselves back into this 9-point gap. And they're in their red zone, having to work all of 75 meters. Crisanto Jong carrying it in. That player not rolling away from Zimbabwe, costing them a penalty and a yellow card. That is the break that Shujaa needed. Going to the bin for 2 minutes, 2 crucial minutes for Shujaa, for they have to score twice. That is Manyakara, guilty of not rolling away.
Referee being consistent. They did try to make an attempt eventually, but he had done enough to allow his team to get back to defense.
Patrick Odongo got to the bin earlier on for the similar offense.
Correct. Referee is being consistent, to be fair.
So it's a put in, and Nigel Amaitsa goes on a dummy run on the shorter side, opening up space for Patrick Odongo. If he can get the ball early enough, he has space, but he's covered and comes back in, straightens, and he needs this ball to be quick. Coming on the shorter side is King George Oro, and scrambles his way through, kicking and going without his left boot, going to score and pull Kenya in. They still have another try to be scored. Somebody lost his boot here.
Was Oro himself who lost his boot?
Yeah, just scrambled, working from the ground there.
Did scramble from the try. I might have to get this one. Keep hopes here for Kenya. Misses.
You are always going to need 2 tries. As you see there, George Oro going all the way to the floor and then kicks out of that tackle, loses his left boot, but he didn't even notice. Was Kenya Shujaa needed that try.
They needed the try and they needed the conversion there. Might are not getting the extra 2. You'd think there's just a little bit enough time here for them to...
Yeah, Manyakara still on the scene being chair, so Kenya still have an opportunity with 7 against 6 to get to the lead, and they have to use it. Any break in play here and Manyakara will be back, and they'll be to a full complement of 7v6. The ball is moved out to the left. Onyala gives it on a cut back into the try scorer, George Oro. They have to reset here. Big hit, takes him back 1-2 meters. And then the referee penalizes Zimbabwe for using hands in the rack. Quick tap and go, not waiting. He should have taken a scrum if you think. Kevin Okasa going into the heart of defense for Zim. And then they have players on the offside, this other side. But Nigel Amaitsa goes into that gap and scores another try that puts them ahead by 1 point. Shujaa upping the tempo here.
That's a very popular try. I thought I would have done too much there by carrying the ball in when he had a decent pass that could have delivered. But to be fair to him, he did keep that possession. And he's just charging up the fans here, King George. Eventually, Zimbabwe Cheetahs just running out of defenders. And it was important for that try to be scored under the post. So 2 minutes to go. There's a lot of rugby still to be played here in the Sevens in Nyayo Stadium.
Yeah, 3 points separating the 2 teams. Manyakara is back and they are full 7. So we have a fight here to the last few minutes, 1.5. in the red zone here.
I think Patrick is in trouble here.
Oh my goodness.
I think Patrick is in trouble. If this is another yellow card on Patrick, that becomes a red card.
And he will be off.
Yeah.
Let's listen in.
Yellow card. You have an... Right. Who made the tackle?
He will not get an answer for that one.
He will get an answer.
Kenya surviving, Patrick Odongo surviving by the skin of his teeth there. He was on a red card for sure.
Is the referee serious? Was he expecting a response from that?
Yeah, no one will give up the name, especially if it's Patrick Odongo. But a big hit there. Onyala coming in and then gets himself bumped off. Zim with ball and numbers to burn out, but that pass not going to hand. Gives Kenya the opportunity to get themselves well set on defense. Good offload by Zim in the tackle, just ensuring that there is nothing for Kenyans to attack. And then under pressure on that track, they seal it off. 43 seconds to go. Kenya have possession here, Oscar. What do they do? 3 points.
I think they call a set piece here. I know Kenya have also trusted their line out as well. Probably go for touch here. To combine two things, that is get some territory so that Zimbabwe, even if they get possession, have to go 95 meters. As we see substitution on Patrick Odongo, I think that potential red card, the Kenya technical bench just being aware, sacrificed his speed to make sure that they stay 7. And of course there's Floyd Wabure there just in case they need the pace again. Also
Siketi coming in for Nigel Amaitsa, who has looked a bit tired in this second half, but they have the ball. The Shujaa have ball and it's seconds remaining on the clock. They have to manage that score, that time very well. Go through the faces, retain possession, then wait for the hooter, and if an opportunity arises to score, they should take it. Early shove by the forwards from Zimbabwe. Referee Harry giving Asati the hurry up to take that free kick. That pass from Onyala just Dean's problem. Floyd Obure, first touch of the ball from the bench. Does well to retain possession in contact. Sketi puts it out wide. Onyala with a proper pass this time round. Asati to Wekesa to King George Oro. Oro now sizing up his opponents. Goes to deck. Good recycling. Coming in on a short line. And Onyala finishes this off for Shujaa. No defender was tracking that run. He came in on a short line and strolls into the try box.
Yeah, it was a wonderful Anders line there from Mr. Onyala. Experience there coming from the Kenya co-captain. Zimbabwe didn't defend that back area very well, and there was a lot of gaps in that space.
The fans going wild and crazy. They have had to weather the storm. Zimbabwe being ahead for most of this first half towards the end of the second half, and then they hit back and just give the fans a relief moment there. Onyala coming in on that short line and sending Kenya into the finals to defend their own trophy which they won last year.
Elijah, how good was Zimbabwe Cheetahs on this one? What a wonderful display of competitive sevens rugby.
They gave Shujaa a real cause of concern throughout the match, and finally Shujaa just woke up to finish this one. It was never easy, never walk in the park at risk of losing and getting no one into getting themselves out of the finals. But we look forward and move on to the next phase of play. These will be the Challengers Trophy finals.